Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. It is officially 2026, which means I have finished my 2025 reading challenge and my reading wrapped of 2025. 2024 was a terrible reading year for me. I read like less than 10 books and it wasn't very good. And I just want to say that in 2025, I'm very proud of my reading self. I know I touched briefly on this in my 2025 reset and reflect, or reflect and reset, but I am deeply proud of myself and the reading goals that I have shaped this year. I ended the year at 27 books read. I almost got to 30, and I ended up reading 9,047 pages. So almost just short of 10,000. Well, not just short, but almost 10,000. And I finished with my shortest book being 62 pages and my longest book being 757 pages. And that's actually, my average rating was a 4.0, so 4-star book. So I wanted to go through all of the books that I read in 2025 and how I rated them and just kind of what I thought of them and whatnot. So I'm going to go through all of these books and see what I rated them. I'm going to tell you guys what I read them on, with it being Audible, Kindle, or just the physical copy of the book. So yeah, let's get started. First, I'm going to start with the paperbacks I read. I ended up reading 2 full series this year. Well, 1 full series, and I ended up finishing another series. So I'm going to go ahead, and I don't have them with me. I have all my other paperbacks with me, but they're really pretty on my shelf, and I didn't want to disrupt them. I ended up finishing Capcut this year, which favorite series I've ever read in my life. It was so good. I have some crazy opinions, and I'll get to that in a second. I started the year with Wings and Ruin, and I rated that a 5-star, obviously. I finished this, I finished this in January of 2025, so it was definitely like ringing in the new year. And then after that, I read Frost and Starlight, which I finished on February 17th. I also gave that a 5-star. Honestly, I would have given a 4.5, but I needed to round up. The reason I rated it that so high, and this might be controversial, because a lot of people rate Frost and Starlight as their least favorite. It's not my least favorite in the series. I know, crazy. I'm a Nesta gal. I'm a Nesta and Cassian gal. They are my favorite ship, and Nesta is my favorite character. I know. But Nesta gets so much hate, and she just reminds me of myself in a way. If you guys don't know, it's on my description of YouTube, but I have PTSD. And Nesta has very complex PTSD in a way, and I just see a lot of my characteristics reflected in her, and it's refreshing to have such a complex book character that's experiencing high levels of trauma and PTSD and handling them in different ways and learning to heal from that. And it's very inspiring to see that as someone that struggles with their mental health and just PTSD in general. So anytime that Nesta is in a book, I am sat down for it. And it was just the end of the book, especially with her and Cassian, was just just beautifully written. I was mad about it, and I thought that was so beautiful. So, yeah, I know. Crazy, huh? So, and then I read after that for Akatar, I read A Court of Silver Flames, which is my favorite book in the Akatar series. obviously, with that spiel I just went on, you could probably guess. I rated it a 5-star for real. Like, I could have rated this a 6-star if I had the option. And I finished this book on July 13th. So I definitely took a while to read Silver Flames, but I think it was also because I wanted to savor the book, because it was just such a good book and I just needed to have it forever and ever and ever. My phone is ringing. Oh, it's from YouTube. Let me silence my phone. So yeah. Okay. The second series I read was Heartstopper. I'm pretty sure I gave all of these books a 4 stars. I'm pretty sure. But I read Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. And Volume 1 through 5, and then I read the Nick and Charlie novella. And I think I consistently rated that a 4-star. Again, they're comic books, so they don't really count, but I did read them, and I did sit for them and make it all the way through the series. So that was considered my books that I read. So I won't say much about that. Heartstopper is just a comfort series for me, I think. It's just so cutie, and I just think it covers some really good topics and whatnot. Okay, let's get started on these paperbacks for the year. Okay, so I'm not going in order of when I read them. My first paperback this year was Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This book I had to read for school, EP Lit Core, and it was really good, actually. I did really enjoy Frankenstein. I don't think I rated it very high, though. I think I rated it like probably a 3-star. Let's see. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. I can't ever remember. Yeah, I rated it 3 stars, and I finished it on September 30th. Again, I just think this book is actually really good. I think it was pretty well written. I liked the complexity of all the characters. I liked the storytelling element. I liked a lot of the action that was going on and some of the more gory scenes. I thought it was a really good book. And it was something that I was able to get into when we had discussions in class. So definitely, I think this one was probably my favorite that we've read so far for school. Second book is also for school and has a butt ton of post-it notes in it from all my annotations, but it is Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. We had to read this for AP Lit again, and it was really good. I enjoyed it. It was, again, a book that I thought was a very easy read, very easy to get into. I think it also was very easy to just, zoom through as the text. Hold on, let me show you. As you can tell, the text is not very small. It's very large, and there's not much on each page, and it's not a big book, so it's very easy to get through, and it was a really good read. I actually enjoyed it. I was able to keep up discussion with it in class. That's what I asked for. I'm pretty sure I also rated that a 3-star. Let's see. Yes, 3 stars, and I finished that one on December 15th, right before I left school for winter break. Okay, and then the next paperback I have sitting in front of me is, I actually don't want to go, I want to go in order of these ones, of when I read them. Okay, first I started down my Ali Hazelwood dive this year. I started off with Love Hypothesis, and this book is so good. If you guys don't know, I'm a science girly through and through. My favorite subject in school is science, even though it takes years off my life. I will be majoring in science in college, and I just love a science romance, especially since this was modeled after Reylo. If you guys don't know me, I love Star Wars, I love Kylo Ren, and I love Rey, and that ship means entirely so much to me. So Love Hypothesis was, in fact, the paperback probably of the year, except for Silver Flames. That was my paperback romance of the year, and of course I rated it 5 stars. So I read that in August, and then after that I was like, okay, well, I'm still chasing this Ali Hazelwood high, and I fear that I need to read another Ali Hazelwood science book. So in fact, I had to read Love on the Brain, and this in fact was also a very great book. I enjoyed it very much. I read this over a fall break when we were in Florida. So it was just I would go to the beach every day, and I'd come home and I would read Love on the Brain. It was definitely a very good book, and I really, really loved it. It's not my, it wasn't my favorite Ali Hazelwood book I read. Like, I didn't like it better than The Love Hypothesis, but it was very good. I rated it a 4-star, I think. Yeah, I rated it 4 stars. And then last Ali Hazelwood book I read this year was Deep End. I loved Deep End. It took me a little bit to get through, but I think it was just because I was tired from all the school that I had been doing in the month of December. I just finished this recently. I liked this a lot. I rated it 4 stars. And yeah, it was a gift from one of my friends, and so I of course had to read it immediately, because you gotta always read your gifted books first, in my opinion. I don't have much to say on that, except I can't wait to read more Ali Hazelwood books in 2026. Can't wait. Okay, and then my last paperback I read, can't believe that's my last paperback, is this beauty. I read this twice this year. This is my comfort book. In 27 Days. It was originally a Wattpad book. I read this for the first time in 7th grade, and every November I reread this book. The reason why I said I read it twice this year is I didn't finish it last November until January, because I was being a slow reader, as you can tell. So it ended up being in my books of this year. But I read this twice this year, in 27 Days. I love this book. Again, it's a comfort book of mine. I have a tattoo for it. You can't really see. I have a 27 on my wrist. But I have a 27 on my wrist, and it is for this book. It is my comfort book. Hadley is me. I'm Hadley. I love her so much. And it brings in the Burr month vibes. Every November when I reread this book, the vibe I get is unmatched, truly unmatched vibes. I can't think of a better way to ring in the holidays than reading this book. And that's all I have to say. My favorite book of all time. Probably the only book I will ever get a tattoo of, except for ACOTAR. I do have a tattoo planned for ACOTAR. But we shall see when I get that. Because Miss Nesta is my girl. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a mountain with 3 stars that says climb the mountain, because good message to keep with you. Okay, let's move in. Actually, let's do Kindle, because I only read one book on the Kindle this year. My Kindle is quite new. I inherited my mom's old Kindle this year, so it's literally just the blank Kindle. It doesn't even have a case on it or anything, and it has a pop socket on it that says Hot Girls Read. That's all I got going. And the only book I read on my Kindle this year was The Hating Game. I watched the movie first. I know. But I wasn't a big reader when the movie came out. I rated this a 5 stars because Hating Game, here we go, guys. Hating Game is my favorite movie. Literally ever. The Hating Game, favorite movie. I don't know what about it. It just trances me in. Trances me in? That sounds so weird. I watch the movie before I go to bed. It's one of my, oh my gosh, I need a movie to turn on. I'm turning on Hating Game. I'm turning on Hating Game, or I'm turning on To All the Boys I Loved Before. There's no in between. It's one or the other. Hating Game is my vibe. I just feel very vibey towards Hating Game. It's just something about the colors in it and the vibe of it, and this way it's set in the winter in New York, and it's the way of dark brown hair, green eyes, and a killer lip combo. And if you guys can't tell, something about me is I have those features. So I don't know why, it's just like books and movies I can relate to. The book was different. They switched up the color scheme. The movie switched up the color scheme and whatnot in different ways, but don't worry, it's still so good. I still love it. Something about enemies to lovers in a workplace setting was very good, and I appreciated that a lot. Moving on to Audible. I have listened. I made it a mission to listen this year to books, And I would like to say that I was very successful. If I had not had Audible this year, I wouldn't have read as much as I did. And I'm so glad that Audible came into my life, because I wouldn't have been being a reader like I was. Okay, let's start at the beginning. First Audible book I read was a nonfiction book, actually. I bought this in the paperback, and then I literally had no time to read. So I was like, I'm going to download Audible, and I'm going to listen to this book because it was free. And that is Silent Spring by Rachel Carson. I love environmental science. I absolutely was devoted to environmental science. I'm an environmental science, marine science, bio girly. And if you guys don't know, this is the environmental science book. Like, this is the book that started the environmental movement. So I ended up reading this. It took me a little bit to get through, but it's a nonfiction, and I hate nonfiction. But this one sparked my interest. And we had to have a nonfiction book, so I was like, well, better get something that is actually going to benefit me in a way. And I ended up listening to this on Audible, and it was very good. I don't know what I rated it, probably 3 stars. But yeah, it just took me, I think I only rated it 2 stars. But it just took me a while to get through. And I'm just not a big nonfiction gal. That's okay. After that, I switched it up, and I said, let me start I started down an Emily Henry rabbit hole, and I mean a rabbit hole. I started reading Beach Read in February 27th. I listened to Beach Read by Emily Henry, and in December, I listened to Great Big Beautiful Life, and in between that, I read, in order, Beach Read, People We Meet on Vacation, Book Lovers, Happy Place, Funny Story, and then Great Big Beautiful Life. I listened to all of those books on Audible, and I consistently loved all of them. Emily Henry, I would say now, is probably one of my favorite romance authors, in tie with Ali Hazelwood. I love both of them so dearly. I love reading their books. Emily Henry books are like a breath of fresh air. I will say, over the course of all of those books, if I had to rank them, Happy Place would be number 1. Great Big Beautiful Life would probably be number 2. This is I think I'm about to have a controversial ranking. I think Book Lovers would be 3. People We Meet on Vacation is 4. Beach Read is 5. Funny Story is 6. It took me a while to get into Funny Story. I just didn't know if, the story wasn't striking my fancy or not. I think that's probably what it was. The story wasn't striking my fancy as much as all the other books had. Happy Place, she was the Emily Henry book for me. I loved Happy Place. Happy Place was tugging at my heartstrings. So that was basically my year on Audible. And then I finished, I read another book on Audible. I forgot. And then I read this was a little short story. It doesn't really count, but it's a short story. I read Hot for Slayer by Ali Hazelwood on Audible as well, because Audible gifted it to me for free. And I said, okay, well, if you're going to gift this to me, then I guess I will listen. So I gave it a listen, and it was pretty good. Pretty good. Nice, short novella that just was entertaining, and a nice listen. And then last but not least, on Audible, I read Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. I read this book not in the case of more looking for help from my parents. I go to therapy, if you guys don't know, and I've always been a very mature child, and I have a lot of people around me that I don't like. I just feel that I'm more mature than, and that's like hard sometimes. So, and I'm a very emotional person. Like, I'm very in touch with my emotions, and it's not a bad thing to be like less emotional and you're more like logical thinking. But personally, I'm tapped into like emotions a lot. Like, I'm very emotionally with it, and I'm a very empathetic person, an empathic person. So, my therapist was like, you need to listen to this book, and it will explain a lot of the reasons that you feel the way you do. And I listened to it, and I gave it, I think, a 3 or 4 star. 3 star? Yeah. It was really good. It was definitely, like, helpful. I think the reason I rated it 3 is just because I was like, it's nonfiction. Like, I don't really fancy that. But it was definitely, like, something that I enjoyed listening to and I thought was helpful to give a listen. So, with that being said, I also read The Yellow Wallpaper for school as well. I forgot about that one. With that being said, that is my 2025 books wrapped. I only read 27 books, not a giant amount. Like, I know some people that are reading like 100 and something books a year. Not me. But that being said, that is my 2025 books wrapped. I can't wait for 2026. I can't wait to see what 2026 brings me. I'm reading currently in 2026, 'Tis the Damn Season. My friend got me this book. And I'm also reading Harry Potter. I'm currently listening to Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. And I plan on zooming my way through the Harry Potter series on Audible. Like, don't even. And also, with that being said, the 2 paperbacks, I brought them up here because I wanted to give them a little bit of a show, that I'm really looking forward so far right now, that are on my shelf, to reading in 2026 is The 7-Year Slip. I can't wait to read this. I've heard many good things about it. It's been on my shelf, and I will be reading. I'm excited. I think it'll be really good. So I'm going to be reading that. And then I will also be reading Done and Dusted. I'm excited to read this as well. I don't think it'll take me long to get through it, but I'm excited. And one of my friends got this for me as well. So, again, it's a gift book. Gotta read it right away. So, I just wanted to say that I am quite grateful for being able to read this much in a year. And it makes me feel incredibly good. So, with that being said, I'm so happy that I shared with you guys my reading for 2025. I hope this mic sounds good because it's my first time using it, and I'm hoping that it sounds okay because I have been talking so quietly in my vlogs when I've been filming, and I wanted to maybe not talk as quiet. So I decided to get my mic on out. And I think that'll be good. But I will see you guys in the next video I film. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet, but I will be very excited to share with you my January, and I am so excited to get to use the camera more, get to use my mic more, get to use this setup more, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.